Hello there, friends, and welcome back to more Bravely Default. Last time, we confronted the Templar, Brave Lee, Idia's father, and beat him in combat. And we also opened the way to Everlast Tower, which houses the Earth Temple and the Earth Crystal. The threat on Mazur Lee's life, Idia's mother, has also been quelled by Lester de Rosso, or Lord de Rosso, the strange man who has been talking with Brave in our sessions here in Eternia. We also obtained a new asterisk after beating Brave, the Templar asterisk. And in our journey to Everlast Tower and scaling the tower, we are going to be equipping that on Tiz. It's a heavy armor job that looks pretty cool. I'll be keeping the piracy job command on him for most major encounters. Though we'll probably be moving him over to Acrobatics for Crescent Moon for dealing with random enemies. But that's not the only job change we'll be making now that we have dealt with Brave. I was tempted to move over to Arcanist or Spirit Master with our very quick acquisition of it as soon as we landed in Eternia, but I held off until we had actually beaten Brave. But now that we have, I am going to be switching Ring a Bell over to Spirit Master. And also, I will be switching Agnes over to Red Mage. Yes, she's going to be going back to Red Mage for right now. She won't be staying here for too long, but I do actually want to see if I can get one or two more job levels on her real quick within the coming areas. But for right now, I'll be equipping Singing on her just to kind of fit the same role she was already fitting. When it comes to Ring a Bell, his job command will be moved from Miscellany over to Medication, as we aren't going to be examining anything too crazy just yet. In terms of his abilities, nothing really stands out. Sorry, Idia, you will not be joining the new job gang today, but maybe here soon. But with these job changes, the Raikiri for Tiz is not really going to be doing anything too crazy, so we're going to be giving him the Excalibur. This definitely sort of looks like what a Templar would look like, a paladin with the heavy armor, the flowing cape, and the super legendary light-based sword. Yeah, this is looking pretty cool. I'm liking that. And Agnes, I think I'm actually going to remove the staff, as I don't think I'm going to need that. I'm actually going to equip a rod on her. Well, we'll go with the Rod of Ice. I want to be able to utilize a rod-based special move, so we'll keep her with that. I don't think we need to make any other major adjustments, so we'll keep her with that. And then Ring a Bell, Mithril Staff is fine, Blessed Shield is already perfectly okay. And yeah, he's looking pretty good. He's set up to be our healer. I don't even need to have White Magic on him, even though that means that the specialty's kind of going to waste. But, you know, the medication and the Blessed Shield will be more than enough for healing us for what we're trying to do. But we're still here in Central Command on the first floor, but I do want to go ahead and remind everyone that to the left, there is an exit area that leads outside of Eternian Central Command into this open area where you can access Grand Ship and everything that's within it. That includes an adventure, that includes an inn, shops, magic shops, whatnot, and you can even fly all around to wherever you need to go. It's pretty useful. But there is one more thing before we head back into Central Command to go towards Everlast Tower that I want to take care of, and that is Narende Village. So, let's go ahead and open it up. And so, we only have gifts from the compound shop, as we still have about 14.5 minutes before we get these River Park shops done. So, I just wanted to go ahead and put that update in there, as we still have a little bit to wait. Alright, with this door up to the north unlocked, let's head through. And this leads to the back door of the Eternian Central Command that allows us to kind of go around this final valley that we haven't explored yet. And this leads to the mountain range we saw at the Gravemark Village, where we can see a building off into the distance. It was Everlast Tower the entire time. So, let's head inside.
think this was once the Temple of Earth. Look what has become of it. I've never set foot here either, yet the change is clear.
Well, at least it seems the Eternian forces dare not deploy troops here.
Yet, I sense a foul presence.
Monsters, no doubt.
They may be after the Earth Crystal. Let's hurry!
Of course, we couldn't have an easy time going to a crystal, at least not since the water crystal. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that my encounter rate is on. I do not want to miss out on any extra EXP. And I'm also going to be swapping my job commands on my attackers over to something that can deal with multiple enemies at once. There we go. Alright, and let's start exploring Everlast Tower. So we've already got a fork in the road here. We've got a staircase over here and a hallway that leads into multiple different areas. That's a dead end. And let's take this upper path. And it leads to another exit. You are a gastric worm. You do not look friendly at all. I don't have Idia on dual wield right now, because I'm trying to see if Crescent Moon can be enough to deal with these things. But for right now, we'll go ahead and just have both Ringabel and Idia. Actually, this is a good time to debut our Templar friend here. Now, Templars start with Heart Strike, which is that guaranteed attack that Brave was utilizing on us. So let's go ahead and use it twice, just to see how it does. We're gonna slow things down here. They deal this damage here. Heart Strike, about 1500 damage to the enemy. That's not bad for a single target attack with no extra buffs. And then let's see how much the Blessed Shield heals with Spirit Master. Which gets your juices, that deals a lot of damage to our enemy. So that doesn't heal as much as the blanking on the name here, the Salve Maker, because of the healing amp. But I'm sure we can work around that. We'll go ahead and have Idia just throw 2 judgments out there, and we'll call it a day here. Oh my goodness! There we go. Judgment making quick work of that guy there. There's the Auto Shell support ability and the Abate Light support ability from our 2 new jobs. So the Spirit Master's first main ability is Spirit Ward. All elemental damage to the selected ally is nullified for 4 turns. This is really, really strong, as it pretty much makes any magical-focused enemies completely invalidated by this ability alone. It nullifies everything they can throw at you, except for non-elemental magic spells. And then we just learned Auto Shell, which invokes Shell on yourself for 10 turns at the very beginning of the battle, which is very useful, especially if you're going up against a speedy caster that deals devastating magic attacks immediately. And then for our Templar, we saw what Heart Strike does, but Abate Light reduces the damage taken from light elemental attacks. Pretty simple. We've seen Abate Water and whatnot already. So, while I have Ringabel here as Spirit Master, I don't think I'm going to need Attack, Item Amp, or the Shield Lore, so I will actually be going and applying Healing Lore to increase the potency of the Blessed Shield's heal. And when we're out of combat, I'll be utilizing Agnes to heal us up. Though, I can also utilize Ringabel if I really need to. Okay, with all of that out of the way, this is where the rightmost path led. And guess what? It leads to another area where you can call Grand Ship. It's a nice little break area at the very beginning of the dungeon. Pretty useful. But we're not going to be dealing with that just yet. We're going to be finishing our mission here. So we're going to head to these stairs. So, I have spent the time, multiple times throughout the game, talking about each of the main cast in, I wouldn't say in excruciating detail, but at least giving my opinions on them. In Chapter 1, I talked about Agnes, and especially how I enjoyed the voice actress and the quality of her character, and it was very interesting to see her sort of come into her own and finally understand that she doesn't have to be alone in her mission. In Chapter 2, I talked about Ringabel and how he treats his comrades, and how it's a little roundabout in trying to understand other people, and how his the fact that he has no memory sort of makes him feel a little. He comes on a little strange when trying to express his feelings to other people, but that he is genuine in his kindness and caring for others. And in Chapter 3, I talked about Tiz and his determination to be the kind and caring older brother to those he cares about, and how it took a long time for him to finally kind of come into his own as a character. In this chapter, as I'm being mauled by a male dragon, honestly, I'm probably just going to flee from this fight. So, I really want to go ahead and discuss Idia while we're here and exploring the climactic final dungeon of our journey. And I just want to go ahead and discuss this real quick. Idia was a character that I was not sold on very well, initially, when playing through this game. Because I sort of just thought she was very obnoxious, and her whole, like, black and white mentality, oh hey, Day Dallas. Her whole black-white mentality when it comes to trying to categorize people in either being good or bad and having there being no in-between just didn't really sit with me very well. Now, I have been told, especially when I was much younger, that I was actually surprisingly similar to that. Seeing things as either being good, bad, or this is a good thing, this is a bad thing, you are a good friend, you are a bad friend, and whatnot. And I guess it just was annoying to think that a character's ideology in this game that, you know, a character that I found a little annoying that apparently I shared opinions with. And so I kind of just took a little bit of my own personal grievances out on this character whenever I was playing through it the first time, because I didn't like thinking that I was this, you know, basic, and that I didn't have any sort of opinion of my own. I was just sort of categorizing people in ways that they shouldn't be. And so as I was playing through the game, I was just sort of annoyed at Idia. And we're getting some job levels here. I was just sort of annoyed at her. But as the game continued, we got to see more of her personality and how she's beginning to, instead of categorize people in terms of black and white and leaving it there, she's willing to stick up to her ideals and truly show what she means by people being evil and good, giving people the opportunity to prove who they truly are before judging them outright. And that was something that I actually had to take in myself, as I was a very judgmental person growing up, and I needed that talking to. Idia was someone who judged people immediately as soon as she met them at the beginning of our adventure, and by this point, she lets people speak for themselves and then determines whether she believes they are good or bad. Now, whether or not the opinion of seeing things in terms of black and white is a good mentality to have, that's a question for another day. But in general, as what I respect about Idia is that she at least is willing to allow for people to prove that they are who they say they are, and not force her own opinions and ideals on other people. It took a while, but she finally was able to do that. It turned Idia into my personal favorite character in this game, because she taught me to not judge others by the cover. You know, don't judge a book by its cover, as the term goes. She taught me that, and I highly value that lesson. And it's a lesson that stuck with me. I don't judge people, at least I try not to, by their first impressions, and I don't try to label people in terms of black or white. Now, Idia seems to not have fully understood that, but at least she gives them the chance. Now, hello. I was not intending to do that just yet, but hey, there's a secret window right here. And we're seeing a lot of the same enemies here, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and start skipping these encounters. Okay, so yeah, there's a hidden window right here. I was not intending to show this off immediately, but hey, whatever, I'll take it. That was a little early on my part. But this hidden window right here on the first floor has a rune blade. Now that's a sword, and it's the same power level as an Excalibur, but it doesn't have any special effects other than raising magical attacks. So if you're worried about light-based defense, you can exchange the Excalibur for the rune blade. I don't think I'll be doing this. I like the Excalibur's look better, but you know, you can do it if you want. I don't think it'll be any better than what I've currently got on Idia either, so we'll just keep moving forward. So let's go through this window here. So let's go ahead and discuss, I guess, the Everlast Tower. It's a fairly large dungeon that traverses a lot of extra areas, and I haven't really been talking too much about it during this. The way that this dungeon is sort of structured is that there's this central room that we came up from the very beginning. There we go, Idia and Tiz gain their level up. And as I was saying, there's a central room that we came up from the very ground floor, and this will lead into multiple different areas that we can explore that have their own staircases and whatnot. And it's sort of just about exploring the area and seeing what you can find, as there's multiple different pathways and hallways that'll lead to loot, to dead ends, to more staircases and whatnot. And the enemy has one more BP. Great. As a quick note, these guys really hurt, and it's best to not try and grind off of these mobs. They really hurt, and they don't give a lot of EXP or JP or whatnot. So if you need to, just turn off encounters here. I don't think it's really all that worth it. I'm just trying to... Oh, screw you, blue chest. I'm just trying to see if I can get as many mobs as I can, just to show them off. I don't think it would hurt. That just kind of looped around. Okay. Okay, so we're on the third floor of Everlast Tower right now, and we've sort of explored a little bit of what this place has to offer. There's still a few extra things here. There's a treasure chest, elixir. Oh, we gotta love those. I'm going to go ahead and tackle places that I know I haven't been before I go back and try to retrace my steps. So let's go ahead and go up the flight of stairs over here, because this is a uncharted area. And this leads us to the fourth floor. Now, there are no interactable walls or windows here. So that's okay. But there is a red chest here. That's the dark shield. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Especially on our shield users. It nullifies dark, and it actually has quite a bit of extra defense as well. If I don't need the blessed shield on either of them, that's not a bad alternative. Let's go ahead and take this southern route. This leads to another hallway, which then leads to a treasure chest. Dragon Fang. We can't never have any more of those, you know, we gotta love those. Dragon Fangs are very expensive, but they always have very potent effects, so we want as many of those as we can get. And then this hallway, I think, kind of loops around itself. Yes. Can't walk through that window. And then down here is another treasure chest. Gold hourglass. Then there's another staircase right here. Let's go ahead and go down it. And this leads to another room. Great. Which leads to another staircase. Yeah, this dungeon, as you can see, is very winding and has a lot of different moving parts to it. But this leads into a large hallway. Now, this is where you want to go, but I don't want to head into that staircase just yet, so I'm actually going to go back and make sure I've grabbed everything else. So, I'll see you back at the first floor. So, back on the first floor, we still have a few extra things to explore over here. So, we took this path, we took this staircase right here. This leads into that main avenue that I was talking about, where you have a lot of different branching areas. Let's go ahead and start with the uncharted areas by going to the southeast corner. and grabbing a turbo ether right there, and then we have 2 more sets of stairs. Let's go to the southernmost one first. And this leads into another treasure chest, which gives us the ancient bow. If you're still using ranger or thief or whatnot, the ancient bow is fairly strong. This bow has a 25% chance to paralyze the attack target and deals 50% more damage to flyer monsters. So again, if you're using either of those jobs, that's pretty much a strict upgrade from the Gale Bow that you probably are still utilizing from the Underflow dungeon. Then there's this other set of staircases, I guess flight of stairs. And this leads into the 3rd floor again and gives us another treasure chest with the Kiku Ichimonji in there. Now, this is not as strong as a Mutsuno Kami, but as soon as I remove two-handed, whenever I'm not trying to Crescent Moon, and utilizing acrobatics instead of using sword magic, let's go ahead and just check it out real quick. Let's grab damage dispersion, why not? Let's go ahead and put the Kiku Ichimonji on. This is just a better Kotetsu, having no special effects, but just being strictly stronger. Which, you know, I'll take it. Back on the 1st floor, let's go ahead and take this northwestern staircase. Now, I did take this earlier, but I did not finish exploring the area. This is the area with the hidden wall. If we go south of it, we loop around here. There isn't anything to interact with that window there, but there is another staircase and a treasure chest. This is the earth drum, okay? You know, I'll take earth damage. And this staircase leads to the 2nd floor, which will loop us back around to this main area. Taking this other staircase on the 2nd floor on the far west, this will lead us to where we were, but we don't want to worry about going to the exit just yet. We're going to take the southernmost path here and head down the stairs to the far west. This will lead us to the other staircase we saw on the 2nd floor. That will give us both this staircase and also this guy. Now, we're not going to talk to him just yet. That's part of something else I'm going to do in the future. But let's go ahead and go down these stairs. And this leads us back around to the 1st floor. I just wanted to go ahead and make sure that I covered every single base here because there's a lot to talk about, a lot to see. And I was currently busy talking about how Idia is my favorite character in the game. So, yeah. I guess I'm going to go back to Grand Ship, save, heal up, and then I'll see you back at the flight of stairs that I told you not to go into yet. And here we are, back in this long hallway. We've seen everything the Everlast Tower has for us. So, let's head up this flight of stairs. And we have now arrived in the Temple of Earth. We're no longer in Everlast Tower, and we have now reached the final stretch of our journey here. As we can see, to the very far end of this dungeon, our adventurer buddy awaits, along with the Altar of Earth. So, next time on Bravely Default, we're going to be exploring the remaining parts of Everlast Tower, meaning the Temple of Earth, and awakening the Earth Crystal. So, with that said, I'll see you soon.